What's up, guys? Listen, remember when we told you a few days ago, the sources were saying that when an arrest came, not if, that David would be arrested in days, not months, not weeks, but days. It looks like there is something to it. You guys, the LA Times is reporting a grand jury has been convened. I repeat, we finally have some real concrete movement on the case. A grand jury has been convened. Now, this could explain LAPD's puzzling knowledge of sealing the autopsy with the grand jury, but that doesn't make any sense because the evidence they have is the evidence they have. And again, according to LAPD, they never even questioned David. So, but we'll see. Let's get into this, all right? They said an LA grand jury now probing mystery of dead teen, that's Celeste Rivas, stuffed in a trunk of David's Tesla. Again, how disrespectful that they're acting like, one, this isn't, the victim doesn't have a name, you know? Two, the victim has a name. And three, her name has been all over social media. That's why the LA Times is writing about this. That's really cold. Anyway, they said a Los Angeles County grand jury is hearing evidence related to the death of a teenage girl named Celeste Rivas, whose body was discovered stuffed inside a trunk of singer David's Tesla earlier this year. Two law enforcement sources have told the Times. Now, it's interesting to me that the LAPD shut down they shut down the whole autopsy and locked it under seal and key. And before y'all saying, oh, they did it because of the jury, that's impossible. It doesn't even make sense logistically for what grand juries do. Statements are statements. If they have them on the statements, it is what it is. However, they could have locked it down because they're presenting the autopsy with the grand jury. But then if they had evidence correlating, it would be a confession, and they never questioned David, so we're right back to the front. But listen to this, you guys, okay? With this grand jury indictment, I find one of the interesting things is the LAPD says they want people to stop leaking, but they are leaking to People magazine and the LA Times. That's interesting. Anyway, right? They said the revelation follows the gruesome discovery of the remains of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Wow, thanks for saying her name in the third paragraph. This really pisses me off. In a Hollywood tow yard on September 8th. Although the Los Angeles Police Department has publicly declined to characterize this girl's death as a homicide, a recent court filing by the LAPD detective referred to a case number as a murder investigation. Now, the Los Angeles, this is good. Okay, this is good. We're reading this real time, so we're discovering this real time. Now, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has begun presenting evidence to what's known as an investigating grand jury, according to one of the sources who spoke on the condition of an anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the case with the media. One of the sources said the grand jury was in session for several days in mid-November, but it was unclear what the prosecutors had completed their presentation of evidence. The prosecutors may convene an investigative grand jury to subpoena witnesses and compel other evidence, including videos. Such investigative panels may recommend charges, but cannot themselves return an indictment. Now, this is interesting. They recommend charges, but they cannot themselves return an indictment. In addition to the two law enforcement sources, a court petition provided to the Times on Monday claimed GJ number referencing the existence of a grand jury. In the document, LAPD Detective Joshua Byers of the Robbery Homicide Division successfully persuaded a judge to bar the LA County Medical Examiner from divulging autopsy results and other details related to the girl's death that would otherwise be public. It was Byers who characterized the probe into the girl's death as an investigation into murder. Okay, if that's the case, then they better come through with some charges. I mean it. They're moving really, really odd. They're moving really, really strange. Unless David is a serial killer mastermind that planned all this, I still don't see. But again, maybe you guys can tell me in the comments. They said Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman, who handles some of the country's most high-profile murder cases, has called several witnesses before the grand jury, according to the law enforcement sources. Silverman did not immediately respond to a request to comment Wednesday, The district attorney's office said in a statement it could not disclose any information about grand jury proceedings. That much is true. An LAPD spokesman referred the Times to a statement issued earlier this week, which did not address the existence of a grand jury. An attorney for David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke, did not respond to requests for comment. Detectives have spent months investigating the circumstances surrounding the girl's passing, as well as her relationship with David. Again, I get the fact that people want to look down on like RIA, the Reddit Investigation Authority. They want to look down on TikTok detectives. They want to look, but at the end of the day, it has been established there was a relationship. Okay, nobody has a picture of them in the bedroom, but there was a deep relationship. Okay, she was underage. Looks like they lived together, according to neighbors. She was not going to school. Her body was in his trunk. She had not been around anyone else. I mean, I don't know. Anyway. Now, get this. They said his Tesla had been abandoned on a street in the Hollywood Hills for several weeks before it was removed. That street was literally in front of his house, like 100 yards away. A tow yard worker noticed a foul smell coming from the Tesla and alerted the LAPD. Inside the trunk, police found a black bag containing Celeste's remains. She weighed 71 pounds and had a tattoo on her finger, according to details released by the medical examiner prior to the court order. Celeste's body was discovered a day after her 15th birthday. That means she passed away at least while she was 14, may have even been while she was 13, if we can believe about her being frozen at some time. I know she was not found frozen, obviously. It's Southern California summer, but if she when she was found, TMZ sources are doubling down, and they have sources in the coroner's office that are saying that it looked like she was frozen at some point. On top of that, everybody is overlooking the whole 71-pound aspect. People are arguing whether she was dismembered, not dismembered. She was 71 pounds. A 5'2" girl at 71 pounds, that does not make any sense unless she was missing limbs or for whatever reason, she had been starved to that point, because there are plenty of pictures of Celeste before, and she does not appear at all to be 71 pounds. So that's something to keep in mind too, okay? LAPD Captain Scott Williams, who leads the robbery homicide division, said Celeste had been dead for at least several weeks. On Monday, he said the body had not been decapitated or frozen. Now, I want to stop there because there's an important distinction. I feel like that LAPD is playing in our face. He said she was not found frozen. He never said that she had never been frozen. That's an important distinction to make, and it's an important one. On top of that, I believe TMZ said their coroner source said her fingers appeared to be waterlogged. She wasn't found in the ocean. If she was waterlogged, that would be consistent with something that had thawed. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Let's continue. Detectives determined that the Tesla had been left parked along Bluebird Avenue since late July, around the time that David began a national tour. The tour was canceled soon after the death investigation drew worldwide media attention. If he did do this, and I think he did, how did he think he was going to get away with this? David has raised eyebrows with some of his musical themes. He was born in Queens. Let's see. Has appeared in a music video filled with violent imagery. A young woman with an apparent chest wound lies on a bed as the singer hovers over her blindfolded, and his white shirt splattered with blood. In another video, let's not forget David had a gore fetish. If you don't know what that is, Google it. I don't want to be demonetized. In one more dance, David drags a person who bears the singer's likeness to a car where the couple stuffs a person in the trunk. In Romantic Homicide, his most popular track, with more than 1 billion plays on Spotify, ends with the lyrics, "In the back of my mind, I killed you and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I hate you." And they go into Celeste's background. They say long before the discovery of the body, and I'm reading through this even though we think we might already know this, but this is LA Times. They are officially getting unnamed sources from the police department, so they might have more information than we know about, or they might dispel stuff. So it's important we read through the whole article. They said long before the discovery of Celeste, of her body, Celeste had run away from her Lake Elsinore home. She was in 7th grade. That is disgusting. That is disgusting that all those people around David saw a 7th grader around him. That's disgusting. She had run away. She was in 7th grade, and her family reported her missing at least 3 times in 2024, according to the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. During that time, she appeared alongside David online, and law enforcement sources said she resided at a rental home with David. So they have just confirmed that she did live in that rental home with David. Now, which rental home, we will see, because around the time it's estimated she got caught, she was reported missing, he moved into that new multi-million-dollar house. But people say that there's evidence that she was actually in that multi-million-dollar house. The pair met through social media. Again, how did they meet through social media? A lot of people on the Celeste Discord said that they met when she was 11 through, I think, a Fortnite group or whatever. Detectives have been working for weeks to trace Celeste's final movements and determine any connections with David. As part of their investigation, the detectives searched the Hollywood Hills home where David lived and removed electronic devices and other items from the residence, which the singer's manager had leased. On Tuesday, the LAPD said it has some evidence that David went to Santa Barbara County in the spring. The reason for the trip is under investigation, but it has drawn no conclusions about the relevance of the case. So again, TMZ was right about that too. Celeste first disappeared last year on Valentine's Day. Her mother made emotional pleas on Facebook to help in locating her daughter. I think I have some evidence about that whole Valentine's Day. We'll talk about that. They're saying that David shot to fame posting clips from the video game Fortnite to YouTube and other social media, then pivoted to making his own music and scored a hit with romantic homicide. The investigators believe that more than one person was involved in handling Celeste's body in the months before her remains were found in Tesla, according to 2 law enforcement sources familiar with the probe. LAPD Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton, who serves as the chief of detectives, said that this week the accountability is coming. Remember, we reported that they said that an arrest is coming in days, not weeks. Whoever was the dumb person that left that comment saying, see, that's why you should wait for the evidence to come out, etc. That's why we were right. That's why you need to become a free thinker and actually search things yourself instead of sitting there waiting for somebody to tell you that the sky is blue. Just look up. It's blue. You can see it yourself. Anyway, they said RHD detectives have been working. They are going to get justice for Celeste Rivas. No one is off the table, including David. He said, contrary to some reports, investigators haven't sought his cooperation. Why haven't they questioned this man? On Monday, the medical examiner's office revealed it had been barred from disclosing details of Celeste's passing. The medical examiner, Dr. 𝐂𝐞𝐥𝐞𝐬𝐭, seemed to question the wisdom of sealing the department's findings. He said the practicality of security holes is virtually unheard of in other counties and has not been proven to improve outcomes in the legal system. We are dedicated to serving our community with full transparency. However, the law precludes us from doing so while the court order remains in the case. I don't care what you say. To me, that sounded like the medical examiner was beefing with the LAPD, saying this is weird and it's not helping the case. In his court declaration, Detective Byers wrote that making autopsy and medical findings public will reveal or tend to reveal the ongoing investigation and the integrity of the investigation, as well as the identity of witnesses and/or informants who are cooperating with law enforcement. How would the autopsy reveal the identity of witnesses or informants who are cooperating with law enforcement? It is an autopsy. That doesn't say anything, but whatever. He went on to say it could endanger the lives of witnesses and or compromise the investigation. All right. They said Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Craig Richmond agreed and granted that. All right. So we're going to have to take them for the word, but they better come through with an arrest. This was written by Richard Winton and James Quealy of the LA Times. Great article. It gave a lot of insight. I will say that they do need to mention Celeste's name in the first thing, but whatever. The whole point of the matter is we learned some very important things. They do think there's multiple. The police are going to make arrest in days. It is imminent. They said this week something's coming. The grand jury is going to, if they see enough evidence, suggest that charges actually be filed. No one is off the table. They also confirmed they have not talked to David. Again, The coroner stands 10 toes down, the medical examiner, that this is stupid. We should release the results. It's not compromising the investigation, but Detective Byers says he actually needs this. And he says that witnesses' lives may be in danger, but if that's the case, why would they be in danger? Are we dealing with a little serial killer? Anyway, you guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to you later. Bye.